Everyone, Frank Palmieri here from Model Busters, and today I am with you a friend of mine who's sitting, I don't know, about 3,000 miles away in the country of Georgia. Hi everyone, this is Andrew. Andrew, this is
Hi guys.
my first
Yeah.
webcast.
So just a disclaimer, I'm not actually Georgian, but my wife is, and she hated New Zealand, so, you know.
Now, Andrew here is a good friend of mine. I've known him for a little while now, and he's an expert modeler. And what is his specialty? He paints with brushes. But before we cover that, Andrew, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your modeling background?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was born in New Zealand in '73. I've been around a long time, same as you have.
Maybe a couple of years before that.
Yeah, well, but close enough. We're in the same ballpark. My first introduction to model aircraft was when I was about 2.5 years old. My father was a Royal New Zealand Air Force officer, and he was making the old Airfix Saab AJ37 Vigan and the Airfix P51D Mustang Mach 3 Dually Bird, the RAF version, right?
Yep.
And that was when we were living at Wigram Air Force Base in the South Island, and he let me help him.
We all done that.
Yeah, I remember painting the pilot and the Vigan, and then he had all the pieces for the Mustang all cut off and ready to go, and he was getting me to see how they went together, and I was kind of hooked from that point, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Mainly been into World War II and the Cold War jets. I lived in Melbourne. I lived north of Melbourne, up near Sunbury in the '80s, and I remember going down to the Kmart in Sunbury and getting all the monogram kits.
Yep.
Good old days, But I still love a lot of those classic kits because for me it's not necessarily about super detailing, but it's about, does it look right when it's done? Sometimes you have to do a bit of work on them.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, those old guys, they got the shapes right.
Yep.
Now it's about buildability, but sometimes I've noticed, like with some of the trumpeter kits, they make sacrifices in the detail, or sacrifices in the overall accuracy to make them easier to build. And, that's good in some respects, but, a bit of a pain in others. But for me, I always wanted to be a pilot. But the other funny thing is about the models that I make is I'm actually colorblind.
Yep.
So I paint by numbers. And I do Warhammer. I have couple of large Warhammer 40K armies as well. And one of them is Blood Angels, which are the red red loyalist space marines. And my wife asked me one time, "Oh, you're doing a new army?" And I'm sort of like, "Why?" Because I was base coating them, and I base coated them green instead of dark red.
Oh yeah, bit of an occupational hazard then.
Yeah. So it's paint by numbers. I still see colours, but I see the majority colour.
Hey, that's a really good looking mug there, mate. I wonder where you got that from.
Yeah, well, that's why I was making a cup of coffee before.
Oh, fantastic! It was people who don't know.
It was a gift it was a gift from an excellent friend of mine. You might know him. His name's Frank Palmieri.
Yeah. Well, Vietnam Air War is my Facebook group. I've got a couple of Facebook groups, and that's our official mug, which I send around to people.
And let me just say, I'm in that group as well, and it's an awesome place to hear stories from vets from New Zealand, Australia, United States, North and South Vietnam. These guys, they have a lot of stories to tell, and the thing that amazes me is how much these guys who fought each other actually really care about each other as well.
Yeah. It is quite amazing. It's a great place, and you can be talking or responding to a post, and suddenly you're talking to a real live pilot, or
you go right down a rabbit hole of details and history and stuff. And you were in Vietnam recently, and you met one of their top aces from that war.
That's right. Yep. I did, and that was a real pleasure to meet him. I also was a special guest at the Vietnam. The North Vietnamese Museum, and that was really top notch. All the classic MiGs that were all lined up there, and look, it was.
And also,
it was
Check
really
out
great.
Frank's videos on YouTube. You'll see some really cool stuff from his trip to Vietnam.
Yep, and some more coming up soon. I'm also doing gone into YouTube in a big way at the moment, and I'm becoming a YouTuber.